What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar for today, what you should be watching for in the charts as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. And deposit $2,000 or more, and you're guaranteed 40. The offer ends very soon in just about 6 days. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the markets. Looking at SPY, we're doing a good job at holding above our key EMAs. We actually broke above this pennant that was forming, so it's starting to look a little bit more bullish for the time being, as long as we hold this support I'm going to talk about. And overall, the market looks like it wants to get a bounce for this Friday. But once again, it depends on some key levels, and I'll be talking about all of that in just a couple of minutes. But just know this, today is Friday, October 25th, 2024. Remember that at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, the Michigan 5-year Inflationary Expectations Report, not to mention the consumer expectations and more data just like that. Now, with all this data coming out, we'll see what this leads to, as we're going to be looking for some insights on what people are expecting for inflation. So get ready for some volatility at 10 o'clock a.m., which is about 30 minutes after the stock market opens in the US. So just be ready for some volatility once that's out. Besides that, for today, it's October 25th, 2024. Today, we have about 280,000 plus of these calls expiring, and we have a little bit under 800,000 or very close to 800,000 of these puts expiring so far. That's a 2.62 put to call ratio. There's 2.62 puts for every call that's expiring today, with 578 being max pain. SPY is once again trying to push now. The question is, will they continue to squeeze shorts, or will the market do something a little bit different? So I'll talk about that in just a minute. I also want to mention that right now the market is looking at the fact that we saw a little bit of a dip yesterday before getting bought back up, which goes to show that there are buyers still defending. Tesla stock is getting a lot of bullish insights from analysts, from Piper Sandler and many others that are very bullish on the share price. And besides that, I didn't see anything else that was too crazy on the news, at least this morning. So with that being said, let's now just talk about what's happening with the charts. So for SPY, we're bullish as long as we don't lose 580.8, our 20 EMA. If this holds, this thing is going to continue to push all the way up for 582 plus. And eventually, we have 583.35 coming up after that, followed by this resistance where this wedge happens to be. So it's looking more bullish overall. But if we lose 580.8, we're looking for 579.5 as our support below that, and then a much bigger dump all the way down to the 577s if that fails us. So keep that in mind. As long as we don't lose support, this looks more bullish. Technicals do favor a push, and I think that we are favoring an attempt to try to push even more because we had a low here, we came up, hit a higher low, and this may attempt to pump at least in the upwards direction to above 582.5. So SPY looks more bullish, technically speaking, as long as we don't lose 580.8, and overall the bulls have a bigger edge. ES is looking more bullish because of the fact that we are holding our key support very, very nicely. As long as we don't lose 58.65, we are favoring upside. If we do lose that, look for 58.50 and 58.33 as our supports. But as long as we're above 58.65, we're looking for a pump back up towards 58.80, not to mention the 5900 area. So I think that there's a good chance we try to push for 58.80 and we try to continue this rally. We will see if this lasts, but that's what I am basically presuming as the most likely case. For Nvda, in my personal opinion, is doing a good job at holding up. We're actually stuck within a range. I just wanted to say that, if we end up losing the support here at 141, we're going to be dipping back down towards 140.34. If we continue to push, we're looking for basically 142 as our resistance. So I think that's Nvidia, which is getting bought back up right here, has some potential to push closer to about 142. So this might attempt to push a little bit higher. As long as we don't lose 140 flat, we could be on our way back up there. For Bitcoin, I just want to give you guys a heads up. This might actually dip a little bit upon open to about 67,750 or maybe a little bit below that before it attempts to rebound again. We had a high here, came down at a lower high. So it could dip just a bit before we attempt to get a bounce. Just watch that very, very carefully. For other tickers out there, we have NQ. NQ is once again looking more bullish. As long as we don't lose 20,400, if we do lose 20,400, we're going to be dipping back down to 20,300 in this range down here. Then we have our next support well below that. So as long as we're above 20,400, the support rate here at our key EMAs, we're favoring a push for 20,500 or even well above that towards 20,600. So we look more bullish right now, trying to break 20,500. The share price is getting bought up nicely and we're holding our support. So watch and see how things end up developing. For the QQQ, as long as we don't end up losing 493, we are favoring a push back up towards 496. If 493 fails us, we're looking for 491.8 as our next support. But overall, this looks more bullish for the 496s. I think there's a good chance we continue to pump. For Apple is once again continuing to hold right over here. We have basically this 230 area as our resistance. If this breaks, we're basically looking for an attempt to push up for basically the 231.3 area. Now, if we end up failing at 230, we're looking for a dip back down towards 228.5. I think Apple's going to shuffle along this 230 area. There's going to be a lot of sideways price action around it, but there might be an attempt to get it back up to 231 if we end up seeing the whole market pumping, which could lead to Apple building that momentum. So that's what I'm looking for, a lot of sideways price action, but this could attempt to go a little higher. For the IWM, we have some critical levels to watch for. So if we don't hold 220.5, I think there's a risk of us coming back down to 219.8. As long as we hold above 220.5, we're looking at a test of 221.3 to be coming. If it breaks this is going to start breaking out a lot more. If we could break 221.3, and I will favor the upset a lot more. Otherwise, we're just in a range between 221.3 and 220.5. Whichever way we break will determine which direction we go in. It does look more bullish from a technical standpoint on the 4-hour time frame. It favors that wants to bounce. So we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. For Amazon, we're looking more bullish as long as we don't lose 187.2. We are favoring a push back up towards at least 189. If 187.2 does break, though, there's a risk of us coming back down to about 186.5. But this is favoring upside for 189. So it's doing a good job thus far. Meta is also doing a good job. We're looking to see if we're looking at 573 as our support. If we hold that, we're looking for 576 as our target, followed by 580. If we don't hold 573, we're going to be dipping back down to about 568. This looks like it wants to push higher for at least 576 plus, so it looks more bullish to me. For Microsoft, we look more bullish. As long as we don't lose 425, we are favoring a push back up for, I would say the first resistance is going to be close to about 427.5. And then if we continue to hold above that, we're looking for an attempt to get back up towards 429. So I see potential in Microsoft. Google is also attempting to break. As long as we don't lose 165, I favor 166.5 to 167. So we'll see how it goes. We're starting to look very bullish right now from a technical standpoint. So as far as the market goes, just know this. I'm not saying we're guaranteed to be bullish, but it depends if we could hold our key supports. As long as support holds, we remain bullish. If we lose the supports I called out, we could be looking for a bigger moves to the downside, but that's not looking very favorable. We are favoring the upwards direction a lot more. So I want to make that very, very clear. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. The market looks more bullish right now as long as we don't lose the supports I called out. And there looks like there could be a push coming. So keep that in mind, guys. And I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update. Have a great day and peace out.